Hey you guys, it's Kristina and welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy to have you here, and today it is time for another Friday FAQ. I absolutely love these Friday FAQs because they really give me an opportunity to connect with you and just to spend time with you in a relaxed way. And I'm really loving these videos, and so I just want to say I appreciate you. It's been a really good day so far. Woke up, did some yoga. I've made some grapefruit juice that came straight off the grapefruits from the tree in my backyard, and it's been delicious. And I have been working so hard to plan my upcoming retreats. So for those of you who are new to my FAQ videos, essentially what happens is I ask you a question on my Instagram stories and you guys flood me with questions and I pick one of them to answer here in a Friday video. And the question that I've chosen to answer today is, how do I beat the midnight munchies? Or essentially, how do I get rid of my own cravings? Now, when I saw that question, it kind of made me giggle a little bit, and that's the reason why I chose it, is because you know what? This person brought a little bit of humor to something that a lot of people really struggle with, and I think it's a great topic to discuss today. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button because there is only more deliciousness to come. If you haven't already checked it out, earlier this week I posted a video on soup and dressing recipes that are delicious, and I've also added them into my FullyRaw Vegan app for you. The app is available on iPhone and on Android for you. And I have to announce that my 2019 FullyRaw Vegan retreats are live, which means you can sign up now. For those of you who are interested in coming, check out the links below or email me at retreats@fullyraw.com and we'll do our best to help get you there. Costa Rica and Bali are on this list, and it's gonna be amazing. All right, so let's jump on in to how to beat cravings. One of the reasons why I love these Friday FAQ videos is because I just feel like these videos are a little bit more vulnerable. I get to just spend time with you. You get to know me, I get to know you in a better way, and all around the connection is just stronger. So I know I've made videos before on how to help you get rid of cravings, but I've rarely had somebody ask me how I beat my own cravings or how I beat my own midnight munchies. So this video is gonna be interesting. Let's say I'm back in Houston, I've been here for a few weeks, 8 o'clock comes around and I finish my dinner, but 9 o'clock comes around and I'm like, I could go for something sweet right about now, right? Like I feel like most people get that late night sweet tooth and they wanna know how to beat that craving. And the thing is that when most people first start getting into this lifestyle, they feel really full for the first few weeks because the raw food is so high in water content, it is so high in fiber that you feel full all the time. But eventually that does pass and you get into the flow of your body knowing exactly what to do, how to process, how to eliminate. And eventually you finish a big meal of cucumber noodles or whatever it may be and you're like, ooh, I still want something else to munch on, or maybe I want something crunchy or sweet or gooey or chewy. And here's what I do. Dr. Graham once told me a long time ago that phrase that you heard when you were little, you know, the one that said, don't eat your dessert first because you don't want to spoil your appetite. You guys remember that one? Do you guys remember that one? I do. He said that if you eat fruit before your meal, before your salad, or before whatever it is that you're eating, and using good food combining practices, it helps to curb that evening craving right off the bat. So by the time that you finish eating your fruit and then you eat the rest of your dinner, you're full by the end. You're really full. You're ready to wind down and go to sleep. But the thing is that most people don't want to satisfy themselves at night because they are afraid of overeating. They are afraid of leaving that door wide open for them to make a mistake later. And I've learned that eating fruit before a meal can actually help me to feel fuller. Now, as of recent, I have kind of switched my mindset to eating a ton of juice and fruit in the day, so my dinners are lighter. And by lighter, I mean not as much fruit. I still do giant rainbow salads. I mean lighter calorie-wise. lighter sweet-wise, because I'll have eaten so much fruit during the day that in the evening I just want something savory. And what I've been personally doing lately is I've been doing sweet juices in the morning or green juice in the morning, fruit for lunch or a smoothie for lunch, and a big, giant, savory, filling salad for dinner. And my salads have had a bit more fat in them. They keep me a little more fuller at night, and I don't tend to want to munch and grab at things. So what happens if you finish your dinner and it's a few hours later and maybe perhaps your stomach isn't feeling hungry, but you still really want to eat something? I would say this: do not be afraid of fruit. I know so many out there who are afraid of eating fruit because they think it has a bad rep because of the sugar, but I'm gonna reinforce this. The simple sugars in fruit are different than the complex carbohydrates that come in other breads and rices and all of those starchy foods. I personally think that if you're gonna snack on anything at night, grab an apple, grab some celery, grab some carrots. It's okay to munch on veggies before you go to bed. And actually, by reinforcing a healthier habit of eating raw food before you go to sleep, you are much better off than diving into a chocolate cake, than diving into a tub of ice cream. If you can train yourself to be okay with eating fruit or to be okay with eating veggies, I think that it still, number one, satisfies that craving. You're training yourself to create healthier habits, and whether or not you realize it now, it's gonna help you with your late night emotional eating and for you to be able to uncover these raw emotions as you're eating the raw food. Now, there are some more simple tips that I've done before. If I really don't wanna eat at night, I will brush my teeth. I'll go take a really nice, long, warm bath to wind me down and to just get rid of my stress in the evening. I'll use my lavender essential oil and just rub it all over myself so that I calm down. Or maybe even sometimes I'll just whip out my journal and I'll write down everything that is stressing me, everything that I'm overwhelmed with, everything that's frustrating me, everything that I'm worried about. And I look at it, pen to paper, I read it out loud to myself, and I sit there and I just do a quick scan, and once I move through that whole process, I usually find that I'm not hungry for anything anymore. And if you have it, drinking green juice at night, if you have the munchies in place of anything else, is also a really great way to calm your system down. So this brings us into the emotional eating component of the late night munchies. And I know I've said it before, but raw food brings up raw emotion. And whether or not you are just struggling with late night emotional eating, or if you've been on this raw food journey a long time and you're just learning how to beat your cravings, I'll say this: raw foods are not only foods that love you back, but they're also healing foods. And in the process of cleansing your physical body, there's a lot of emotional stuff that comes up as well, because you can't just clean the physical without also beginning to heal the mental. And there's a huge impact that happens between the two of these. It's like a dance, right? Sometimes you find that one is stronger than the other, less strong than the other, but they work together naturally to keep you healthier and happier. I always say that raw foods heal us from the inside out, and yes, you do have to be willing to take the journey to address these emotions as they come up, because they can be strong. They can awaken us to things that we didn't even know were in there, whether it be a pain or a hurt or a sadness. Anything. It can awaken us to anything. Maybe perhaps there's joy in there that you didn't even know that you had. Anytime at night that I feel the need to eat, usually I'll do those basic things that I just mentioned, and I'll do an emotional scan and I'll evaluate. Am I eating because I actually am hungry, which the answer is usually almost no, because I've already eaten dinner, or am I eating out of some kind of anxiousness because something else is happening in my life? Now, once I get to the core of it, once I identify why I want that food, sometimes I still allow myself to munch on something, because I'm like, you know what? It's okay. It's okay for me to enjoy this right now. I know what it is, and sometimes you just need a little bit of comfort. I'm not talking about a chocolate cake or a chocolate pie. I'm talking about some fruit. I'm talking about, you know, warm tea. I'm talking about just something that satisfies the palate in a healthier way. And for those of you who know me know that I'm not about restriction. I'm all about a freedom-based lifestyle. So I'm not gonna tell anybody to just not eat at night, I'm gonna say here are some healthier options that you can enjoy that will help move you towards your goal of learning how to love yourself more and how to beat these late night addictions. And as soon as you begin to break the patterns that you've established, and you will see that these addictions slowly wither away. I wanna touch a second Now, I want to touch for a second on this theory of rewarding yourself with good or bad food. And I know I've talked about this before, but this seems to be a good video to mention it in, so we're gonna mention it here. Many people wait for Friday night, right? The end of the week, they've been through a really hard, long week, they're tired, they get home, and the first thought that comes to them is, I'm gonna go eat this huge burger, this big tub of ice cream because I've had a hard week and I wanna reward myself with it, right? Most people, when they think of a reward, it usually has to do with bad food. It becomes their cheat day or their cheat meal, and they make some kind of an allowance for them to eat the food that they know isn't good for them and that they also know makes them feel terrible. I've always wondered, why is this a reward? This isn't a reward at all. If anything, that further contributes to the self-sabotage at hand. Why can't we train ourselves for a reward to be doing something that is good for our body, like eating a beautiful green salad or making a green juice? Now, trust me, I know that that may seem like torture to some of you after a really long week, but that's the whole point in transforming a destructive habit into a life-giving one. Now, I know that that may seem very difficult at the beginning because raw food doesn't have the same numbing effect or the same stuffing effect as cooked foods or unhealthy foods may have. It's just rewiring your whole system, your whole brain, the way you think about things to reward yourself with good food after a week, because that is a sign of showing yourself love and also consuming foods that love you back, as opposed to foods that are going to hurt you in the long term, keep you from addressing the real issues at hand, and also these habits play into the destructive patterns that you've kept your whole life. There's no change involved in this. There's no responsibility being taken. There's no looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, hey, I could be better at this. It's just making allowances for what you always want to do. Now, if this is what you want to do, perfectly fine, that's your choice. But if you do want to level it up and to create a greater sense of awareness and healing for yourself, maybe perhaps we could change the way we think of a reward to ourselves. Now I do want to touch on this for just one more second. Please remember that unhealthy foods, toxic foods, cooked foods at some point or to some degree can create a sense of numbing in the body. And overeating these late at night with impure intentions or when you're not hungry can be seen as a form of trying to stuff things down. Essentially, you're trying to numb yourself. The thing is it'll numb your emotions for so long, but they'll keep coming back. And then you'll get into this pattern of continuously eating these foods because you're unhappy, but then you're unhappy because you eat, and it becomes this whole cycle. And then you become unhappy with yourself because of this, and you see where I'm going, it becomes a problem. So my point here is, let's begin to identify what triggers us in the evening so that we can figure out if we are wanting to eat because we actually are hungry, or if because there's an underlying emotional component to it, or if we just like the way that something tastes. If you like the way that something tastes and you just want something to munch on at night, that's good. Find a healthier alternative. A fruit, a veggie, some tea. Distract yourself with a bath, journaling, whatever it is that brings you joy. And if it's something else, get honest with yourself. It's okay to be vulnerable and to get support, to write in your journal what's wrong, to sit down and kind of talk yourself through it a bit, or even just to allow yourself a few moments to understand what's happening. It's okay for all those emotions to come to the surface. It's okay for you to feel. It's okay for you to feel everything that comes up. Absolutely, it is okay for you to feel. Feel it to free it. I know this video went off on a lot of different tangents, but I think that it still kind of covers everything encompassed in this topic. I feel like I could talk all day about this, and I've talked a long time about this already, but I hope these tools have been helpful to you. These are the things that I do when beating my own cravings that I've already shared with you. So I can't speak for other people in this video, but everything that I'm sharing here comes strictly from my own personal journey and from what I have learned. And these tips I know have helped a lot of other people to move past cravings and late night eating. And while there may be many more, I'll probably save some for the next video. And I would love to hear what yours are as well. So don't forget to leave in the comments things that maybe you're working through or cravings that you're working through, anything. I would love to hear all of it. I appreciate you all for sitting through this video, and I hope that it sparks some kind of thought in your brain and even more questions that we can answer next week together. I appreciate you. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, and I want to thank you all so much for joining me here again today. I cannot wait to see you in my next video. I'm sending you all my hugs and my love.